I was sitting on the train and I bumped into a solicitor that I know on the way in, and we were just chatting. And I said, well, one option is to buy a company in Colchester. I said, the other option, which I'm thinking I'm going to do, is I'm just going to buy a building. And he's like, why? And I said, well, once I've bought it, I've got to solve it. So the problem is I've then got a building that's sitting there unoccupied. I'm going to need to build a team. I'm going to need to build it out. And it will then get my attention because I'll be like, this is costing me money. I need to fix this problem and I need to fix it quickly.
Welcome to Your Mind, Your Business, the podcast that dives into the real grit of entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Carina McLeod, founder and fitness fanatic. And today we have a special guest, John Holliday from Pocknells. Welcome, John.
Hello, thank you.
I am excited to talk to you today.
Good.
Not only are Pocknells and yourself our accounting firm, I'm just keen to really understand your journey because, of course, I don't know the real in-depth of and insights into what it's taken to get your company where it is today. So if we start off, for those that are listening, if you could tell the audience a bit about who John is today and Pocknells, and then I'm going to hit rewind and we're going to go to the start. The beginning.
So, yeah, I'm John. I've got 2 children and I've got another daughter. So I've got 2 daughters at the minute. I've got another daughter on the way and it could be any minute. So
congratulations. I didn't know that.
Could be any minute as
Amazing.
well. So I've been told off this week for coming to London. But anyway, we'll find out. Hopefully it won't be. I've got several businesses. So I have accountancy firms and at the minute we are buying more accountancy firms. We're in an acquisition growth is what we're trying to do with accountancy. I also own part of a corporate finance company. So I've got a corporate finance company, so that does all of the different types of funding for acquisitions and also funding for assets. So basically any type of corporate finance they'll do. And I've also got a share of a personal wealth company, so financial advisors as well. So I've got a few different businesses. I've got quite a lot of commercial property and quite a few resi properties as well. So I've sort of done that part and I think that's me really. Yeah, Pocknells is a accountancy firm, chartered firm of accountants based in Essex. We serve, I think we've got about 5,000 or 6,000 clients that we act for at the moment, and they're everything from startups to our biggest one's probably close to 100 million turnover, around that figure. And we've got about 50 of us in the team at the moment, but hopefully rapidly growing, especially if we get some of these acquisitions off. Amazing.
I've just learnt loads already. I sort of thought it was Pocknells and there's a lot more there. So I'm going to hit rewind because I'm guessing that's not been plain sailing, managing all of that. And especially where you're at now, you're going through another transition, as you say, acquiring other accountancy firms, which I'm guessing has come with a bit of an emotional toll as well. So let's go to the start. Did you start off as an accountant for a firm? How did Pocknells become the firm it is today?
Yeah, so I didn't want to be an accountant, I don't think when I left school I wanted to be an accountant. In fact, I remember, my mum remembers a teacher saying to me, basically, you'll never succeed as an accountant. So I must have said it at some point at school, but they said you won't succeed. And so basically I went off, tried to get a job in London, tried to get in with all the big companies in London and no one wanted me. I thought I could probably sort of blag my grades a bit because they hadn't actually been released yet and I had better predictions than what I thought was going to come out. And my grades weren't good. I think I got a B in PE and an E in IT and that was it really. So I didn't do very well, failed all the other ones, which was great. And then I went for a job interview at a company called Seagrave and Pocknells in Southwold-on-Ferrers. And the man's, Colin, who was later a business partner, but at that point was my boss, he said, no one else has applied, so it's probably a good chance you'll get the job. And I started the accountancy apprenticeship. So that was kind of how it became. It was just someone who was willing to employ me and I needed a job. So I started doing it. Failed a lot of those exams to start with as well, which is brilliant. And then he said, I'll pay you money if you pass your exams, basically. So then I was like, oh, that's quite interesting. I get pay rises if I pass these exams. So I started flying through the exams. I'd sit as many as I could. And I literally, again, just 50% was the pass mark. And I always had this thing that if I got more than 60, I wasted time on it. Basically, I just needed to get between 50 and 60 because that was the pass mark. yeah, I just started ticking these exams off. So then I qualified, and then at some point in this journey, he said to me, when I was quite young, he said, "Do you want to buy in? Do you want to be a partner? I want to sort of retire." So I said yes, thought that was a good idea. Didn't really have any money, but he was going to lend it all to me anyway. And I bought into the business. The problem was it wasn't a very good business. So, yeah, and I feel bad when I say that because he's a really nice guy and I trust him fully, and he was a great business partner from a trust and sort of love point of view. Just wasn't a very good business person. So we had a few bad bits at the start as well. We got hit by a bad debt early on. That nearly wiped us out. And so I became a partner, and I realised that actually we couldn't afford to pay his staff's wages. We didn't have many at the time. We had like 5 or 6, but we couldn't afford to pay them every month. Everything just wasn't quite as good as what it looked like as an employee. And I guess that was the kick-off of the entrepreneurial start, I guess, for me, was that.
I think that's fascinating there, though, because what was his name, did you say?
Colin.
He believed in you, right? I know you say no one else applied for it, but he put a lot forward there, as in, I'm going to pay you. You get paid more to do your exams. You can be a business partner, and that backing is quite.
He probably made me kind of who I am. So I used to say to myself, what would Colin do? And I'd try and do the opposite, which was probably the wrong thing to do. And I feel bad saying that, I do, but he was such a good person. He just really didn't like talking about money. He didn't like talking to clients about fees. He didn't like pushing the boundaries of the services we could offer. We didn't advertise. We didn't do sales. He didn't like sales. So all these parts are absolutely crucial to a business. He would actively avoid them. And I thought that was normal. But unfortunately, that doesn't get you paid at the end of every month, does it?
No, definitely not. But that's interesting because potentially then he saw a spark in you of what you brought to the table and all that value. Like you said, you didn't see yourself as being an accountant. And I guess that's, you're now a business owner.
Yeah. So I think the roles changed. So at the very start, when we didn't have any money, I remember sort of basically going home and having a little cry to myself and probably my parents. But I remember sort of saying, this has got to change. Like, I can't keep on not having any money at the end of the month, and it's keeping me awake at night, really. It's not good, and that was very early on. And so I signed up to go to BNI, which was probably a cursed swear word now, but yeah, I went to BNI. I remember sitting in the car park of the BNI car park, first time I've ever had to go and present and do any networking, I guess you'd call it, because we didn't do it. I remember thinking, oh my God, I've got such a rubbish company. These guys are all like Steve Jobs and, Mark Zuckerberg or whoever they are. These are all the biggest companies in the world. Obviously now I appreciate they weren't, but it was the smoke and the mirrors of it all. Yeah, and I went in there and I basically crapped myself for 2 hours and thought, I don't think anyone's going to listen to what I say. But it taught me that was a big sales learning. The thing that was good about BNI, and it only went for 4 weeks before it shut down, so it was it was quite a short exposure to networking. The thing I did realise was how all these people were absolutely fundamentally chasing sales, and that was all they spoke about: what sales, what referrals, what sales, what referrals. And I was like, oh, I never heard this before. So again, I hated BNI, and I never went again after that. But it taught me, or I learned a lot in those 4 weeks. I literally was like, this is key and we need to be on this.
So you've self-taught yourself, I guess, as you've gone along that journey. So I'm guessing you turned things around though.
Yeah. So it all got good. It all got good. So we've now, like I say, got a team of about 50 in the accountancy arm. There's more people in the other businesses. And yeah, we still, like every business, we have pains. Every business has pains. It doesn't matter if you've got 5 people, 50 or 500, you're always going to have those pains. But yeah, it's turned around. It's good. It runs itself. It's got a great team. I employ better people than me now. I was never really that good. I appreciate I was never that good. I've got better tax consultants, better accountants, better HR. HR, I'm rubbish at that. So yeah, we've got people in place who can actually do the jobs that I'm weak at. And I always think that I'm like effectively, I don't know, the glue or the person just trying to hold it all together, and also to say to everyone, we need to improve here, we need to improve there. I think it's just picking out some of the smaller problems and trying to highlight them to people because they can get missed, can't they?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess from that, you never thought in your mind that you'd ever be a business owner at the start, and you were just going along with what you could.
I was just going to be an accountant.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased I'm not, actually, because it wouldn't have suited me. I'm my superpower, if you like, is I'm a very good problem solver, and I think I've always been a good problem solver. And I think that a lot of my clients want me in meetings because they're like, John has got such a good problem solving brain, and I definitely am not very good at completing a set of accounts from start to finish, but I've learnt that now, so I don't do it. So it's kind of, I'm there for the bits where they need a problem solver, and my team, who are very good at completing accounts from start to finish, do that part, or do their part within their bit. I think I've always been quite good at building systems. Again, that's part of the problem solving thing. I've always liked new tech. I've always liked embracing change. Doesn't go with accountancy, that.
Yep. I was about to say that. So with that change part, because to run a business, you've got to be able to embrace change, and you've got to be able to take on risk as well. What was that big moment that you will always remember, like that pivotal moment where you're on this business, you're not making enough money? What was it? What was that shift to then start making money, or towards a point where you felt that there was almost light, I guess, at the end of that tunnel?
So now I honestly do believe money's abundant, which I appreciate is a stupid thing to say, but I do believe that. I've learned how to sell. I've learned how to market. I could sell and market anything. I'm sure once you've learned that skill, that's where I think entrepreneurs are very lucky. Once you've learned that, you can sell and market anything. So I do believe money's abundant. At some points in my journey, I didn't see that. I didn't believe it. I didn't know it. But I think learning sales was the part that taught me that actually there's lots of money out there to be made. And so for me, it was build a sales machine, get my team trained in how to complete the sales. So I have got a very good accountancy sales team, and they're accountants selling. It's amazing. And they are good. They've got good conversion rates. We track all the stats. We track all the stats on each landing page. We've got 2 in-house marketing people that work for us full time, which again, accountants don't do this. It's a big cost that accountancy firms would normally save. But we see it as, the reality is we know what the lifetime value of our client is. So we know that our clients typically stay with us for sort of 8 years. We know how much profit we make off of them every single year. We know how many people they refer to us. And once you've worked that out, the cost to acquire them is quite cheap. So then it's kind of a sausage machine. As long as the service is there and you can build the team to support the process, it was just sell, sell, sell. So yeah, when did it all change? It all changed for me when I learned about sales and marketing, and I think that's the one thing that all entrepreneurs should learn. And now when we make a mistake, literally, and we do make mistakes, like we all make mistakes, when we make a mistake, I often say to myself and to my clients, how long would it take you to make that money? So if, for example, you've made a £5,000 mistake, how long would it take you to make a £5,000? If it's a week, you've lost a week. If it's a day, you've lost a day. And if it's a minute, you've lost a minute. Like, once you do that, then you can just, in my head, I can compartmentalise it, and I can close it and say, well, that's that done. I've lost a minute. I need to get on, or whatever it is.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, because it's almost like you go into this role and you're doing accounting, but you kind of never really thought you were going to be an accountant. Yet you seem, this part of sales seemed to have almost, would you say, ignited something in you? I
think sales are amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm not just actually the financial, that's not what I mean. I love the whole, I can't think of the word here, but I love the fact of how the gameplay of a sale, I love the fact that when you're sitting opposite someone, there's a part in there where you think, yeah, they're going to buy, this is exciting. I love the fact of what you've said to attract them. I mean, you've got to deliver what you're saying. It's not just sell, sell, sell. And I wouldn't sell something I don't believe in either, because I think ethically that's not who I am.
Yeah.
But I love the sales side. I think that's the most exciting part for any business owner. And I do think that with Pocknells, the kickoff was that we had no money, and once we started getting the sales, and then we started making it that, so again, like one of the biggest things was the bad debt hurt us, so then we said we're never working with a limited company again unless they pay us monthly. It was such an easy thing to fix that, but that was fundamental to the growth of it. So then we literally would just say, oh, we're not going to work with you unless you pay us monthly. And some people would say, well, we don't want to do that. It's okay, we don't want to work with you then. And then that would be, well, they either do it or you don't. And that has changed a bit as we've got bigger. There are some now that don't pay us monthly, but typically they're the very large firms, and it wouldn't be very easy for them to disappear as such.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting because the part here is, and I've seen this with quite a few people that have come on the podcast and even with myself, there's that entrepreneurial flair inside you that often doesn't get pushed at school. You don't realise that you could be like that. Like you've got that problem solving, that sales and everything. You've got that in your mind. That it's only until you had that opportunity that then all of a sudden you've just then gone to a point where you're like, right, I can make this happen. We've got this going. So you're growing this business. I'm guessing like we've spoken about being in bad debt, and then you've spoken about your team of 50. There's this little bit. It's not a little bit. Big bit in the middle. What was that like? Because I'm imagining there was some highs and some lows that you've hit to get to where you are now.
It was good, and I can't remember any massive highs and lows for it all. There is one problem that we had. Mm-hmm. So the police station, we bought a police station that was derelict, and we did that about 3 years ago. And to be honest with you, at that point, life was good. Like we had lots of cash in the bank, everything was growing, we were happy, it was good. And then I think John got in the way, which he does quite often. So he gets in the way and he's like, it's all good, so how should we make this not as good? So we bought a derelict police station and we did it
John
up.
Meaning yourself, yeah.
Yeah. So I quite often will, if it's all good, then I almost sabotage it a bit, which is not, and not necessarily meaning to sabotage it. I'll tell you about a story in a minute about on the train on the way here. But yeah, so we bought this police station and effectively we renovated it. But the problem was I basically went to see the police station and they said, I've been badgering the agent for yonks. Can you sell me this police station? Can you sell me it? And he said, no, it's not for sale. And I was like, it's up for sale. And they said, yeah, but we're not selling it. And what it was they were trying to get resi building rights on it.
Right.
So they had to show it was up for sale. But then anyway, they got rejected. So they sold it. So he said, if you want to buy it, come and buy it. Like today. So I'm like, okay. So I turn up, put the offer in, walked away, and he said, yeah, that's fine, it's all done. I was like, that's great. So then I went home and told my wife. She was like, what have you done? Obviously that's not normal to do that. And then I rang up the bank the next day and thought, well, they're going to lend me the money, and they were like, we're not lending you the money. And I'm like, why? They said, it's derelict, it's not fit for purpose, no one's going to lend you the money on that. So that's a bit tricky. So I've just spent a lot of money. And I didn't have it. So then I went to basically asked round and said, can someone help me with this? And someone said, yeah, we'll lend you the money. So that's quite handy. So they lent me the money. And I paid for the whole refit. So we've worked sort of well over £1 million now on costs and fit out. So we were in a bit of a hoo-ha. And I thought, it's all right. I know, I'll get out of this. So what I'll do is I'll go to the bank now and I'll get them to value it and now mortgage it. And I went to the bank and basically we'd spent about 1.4 million on it, and they said, we'll lend you 500,000. And I was like, this is a problem. So I've killed all of our capital reserves. I've killed everything on this police station. And so where I'd gone from a very comfortable place of not having like cash flow worries, because I'd sort of built loads of plans in place, to this point I've now actually put myself back in the dilemma of cash flow problems. So interestingly, I went back to basics. So when I was in those cash flow problems to start with, the main way I got out of it was through budgets and forecasts. So effectively I would set budgets and forecasts all the way through the business, from how many new leads we need, how many we need to convert, how does that affect my P&L, how does that affect my cash flow. And I just pushed it. And then I said to all my team, this is what we need to hit, this is what we need to do, this is how much money we need to make every single month. And I just communicated with my team. So I just went back to that. So for the last 3 years, we've gone back to that, and we've managed to get it all sorted, basically. So now we're back to good again, and it probably was the best thing we've done. It's a lovely office. We've got police cells for meeting rooms. The team think it's cool. But at the bit going through there, I was thinking I've gone past these sleepless nights, and I've just put myself back in the sleepless nights and the worry.
That's fascinating. More to a point, like, we briefly touched on this before the podcast started about those highs and those lows. And it's almost like when you've got that growth and you said, well, you can sell. Like, if there's a gap, let's sell. It gets to a point where you just grow. And then if you're just growing, is there a part where you think, we'll get through it? Like you almost, because things have been going so well, you almost lose that part where actually things could come in. I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. Like you don't necessarily foresee that all of a sudden things are going to turn ugly, basically.
No, and I think they do. That's always what is going to happen. It can't always be perfect. And I said about the train journey on the way here. So at the minute we're on an acquisition journey. The main reason is I've set myself an unrealistic goal, which is what I always do because that gets me to action things. And so now I need to complete it as quickly as possible. Yep. And so acquisitions are the way forward. And I was sitting on the train and I bumped into a solicitor that I know on the way in, and we were just chatting. And I said, well, one option is to buy a company in Colchester. I said, the other option, which I'm thinking I'm going to do, is I'm just going to buy a building. And he's like, why? And I said, well, once I've bought it, I've got to solve it. So the problem is I've then got a building that's sitting there unoccupied. I'm going to need to build a team. I'm going to need to build it out. And it will then get my attention because I'll be like, this is costing me money. I need to fix this problem and I need to fix it quickly. So if I don't do it, then I can't action it. Once I've done it and I'm committed to it, I'm going to do it. I know I am. So that part doesn't actually scare me. There's obviously going to be some pain going through it. But yeah, I'll do it. So I've literally 2 weeks ago, I walked an ultra marathon. I've never run anywhere in my life, but I did 58k.
Well done.
In the Peak District.
Amazing.
I killed myself, but it was good.
Yeah.
I did. Basically, I looked in the mirror about 10 weeks ago and I was like, I'm heavy. I'm really heavy. And I knew I was heavy and I'd been unhappy with my weight for a long time. And I was thinking, well, I've either got to go and do the Manjaro or something, or I've got to exercise and I've got to make this a thing. So I signed up for this ultra challenge, which I thought was a bit stupid because I've never done a run before. And it was in the Peak District, which was probably even more stupid. But I kept telling it and I trained. I did over 500,000 steps for 8 weeks. As in a month. For 8 weeks I did that, so 2 months of that, and I thought, well, I don't really care if I complete it or not, because I know on the day I will complete it. I know that I won't not complete it, and actually all I've done this for is to lose weight. I haven't done this to actually become an ultra athlete. That isn't my goal. I just want to lose weight. And actually when I got there, I'd lost about just over 1.5 stone, so I'm nearly close to 2 stone now on weight loss, and I completed it. I didn't enjoy it, I hated it, but I completed it. So to me, it's like set the challenge and then I'll complete it. That's how I think I work.
Yeah,
which I'm sure is the same for most people.
Completely. That's fascinating. Well, congratulations for being able to achieve that. That's awesome in 10 weeks. But there's definitely something there in terms of that that mindset, as in, you know, even when the business started out, you were in debt. And that triggered you to be like, right, there's a problem. I'm going to go and figure it out. And then it's almost like you said about the self-sabotage. It was almost like, was the business going almost to, it was growing and there wasn't enough of a challenge, right? Because if a business is growing, you've got all the team and you've got all the cogs working, and I'm saying this because I resonate, then it's kind of like, okay, what more could we do? So then you go and do something a little bit more drastic, but actually it paid off in the long run.
But I do honestly think it always will pay off. And I genuinely believe that in my circle of entrepreneurial friends, entrepreneurial clients, they will typically always succeed. Yeah, there might be some failures and there might be some problems along the way, but they're the type of people that have got the grit that it doesn't matter what happens, they're going to come back. They're going to do it. So if it's not this time, it'll be next. Yeah. And they'll keep going until there isn't a next. Like, effectively, it just keeps going until it works. I mean, I've been reading a book at the moment, and the guy's had 4 failed businesses, and then he sold for, about £4 billion, and I think he got 600 million himself. But no one talks about the 4 failed businesses he had to make that wealth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm a bit... At the minute, I haven't really had the failed business as such. So I'm thinking, well, I'm probably not going to get that big exit. But... it's been a good journey. I think one of the things that I struggle with, which I'm sure is probably similar for other people, is I'm never actually content with what I've achieved. And I think that's one of the trickiest parts. So even on that ultra challenge, I got to the end and there was a part in it where I nearly checked out, but I wouldn't let myself, and I'm really horrible to myself, which I think, I don't know, that's just my motivator, is I'm a bit mean to myself. So in my head, I'm being really mean to myself. And I think I'm going to check out, and I was like, don't be a coward, you've got to do this sort of thing. And I met a lady on the walk, and she was a doctor. And she nursed me through the last bit because my feet weren't in a good state. And I wasn't really fit enough to do this challenge. And I was drinking water and I had no salt tablets and I didn't know what I was doing really. Yeah. And she was like, you're an idiot, but I'm going to get you through this. So she did. She was a really lovely lady. And then we get to the end and she said to me, you go that way to the finish line and I go this way. And I'm like, why? And she said, well, I'm going to do the next 50k. And I was like, what? And literally I was like, oh, you haven't completed this. So although I'd probably done the biggest challenge of my life, literally crossed the finish line and sort of sat there and had a little cry to myself and thinking, oh, mate, you're a failure. Like, what have you done? You haven't completed this. And so I desperately want to do the 100k now. And I hated every minute of it, and I will hate every minute of that. But I desperately want to do it just so I can say I've completed it.
It's that grit, though, isn't it? It's that feeling that, I know you like say that you hated it, but there's this part of almost testing the boundaries and testing your limits, as in, your body, whether you trained for it or not, you still got through it. Buying the police station, it set you back for three years, but you got through it. Now you're going through the acquisition stage. You know you'll get through it, and it's almost like, let's see how much you can push. But
that is what we all have to be. You've got to be resilient, and you've got to be willing to keep going. And I think everyone I know, I mean, even that person who I was chatting about the book I'm reading, I know that they're still doing business now. They haven't sat there and said, oh, I've sold for 400 million and I'm going to go and sit on the beach. They're still doing the same things.
Yeah.
It becomes part of you, doesn't it? It's probably your identity. It's probably what you truly believe in. I like what I do. It gets me up every morning. It gets me excited. Just keep doing it.
Yeah, definitely. And if we go back to, like, you mentioned about the police station, you mentioned sleepless nights. I'm guessing, how do you manage that? Because you're then going, right, okay, I thought this was a great idea. Now I'm realising a lot of people around me are questioning my decision. How do you then make sure that that doesn't kind of bring you right down?
Quite lucky. Normally if I sleep, I forget about the problem. So it's like a good reset for me.
Yeah.
I'm quite... I'll forget about whatever was keeping me awake, and then I'll go again, and then it'll trigger me again, and then I'll have to have a sleep to forget about it again, which is good. But yeah, I think it's important to, obviously, I found walking helps a lot. If I go for a walk, if I'm ever really stressed, I'll go for a walk. Even if it's at lunch at work, I'll go for a walk, and that kind of makes me forget what the problem is, and then I can carry on moving. A lot of things aren't problems, they're noise, aren't they? And we think they're a problem, but then they never actually materialise.
Yeah.
So, like, a good friend of mine always says it's only a problem if it's still around in 4 weeks' time. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's true, really. So what you don't want to do is keep catastrophising every bit of noise, do you? You want to only catastrophise the real problems. The police station wasn't a problem. It was a cash flow problem, but it's solvable. It's all solvable. I don't think there's many things that aren't solvable. As long as you're communicating and you've got people supporting you, don't know. It's not that tricky to solve, is it?
No, you know, and it's interesting the way you say that. Like, it's almost like the reset. You can hit reset every day, effectively. You've got all this noise going on, all this stuff going on in the day that's spiralling you, but you go to sleep, switch off, and then wake up the next day, and I guess you see every day is the next day and a new day.
I mean, I should say I do pay for a coach or a therapist or whatever they are, and I see them every week. So I guess it's not like quite as easy as that. But partly that's my safe space. So for me, I enjoy seeing her every week. She's my safe space. The problem is, which I know we were both talking about before this, it's lonely. It is lonely. And as much as I love my team, there's some things that I can't share. Or if I did share, I'd pass the sleepless nights on to them, and that's not fair either. So this is my adventure, my stupidity. I shouldn't be passing on others to others, if you know what I mean, the worry or the concerns. So I find her my safe space. She's really good, actually. I really enjoy her because she will not give me the solutions. She'll ask me questions until I solve the solution. And then that's me happy again.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that's like a coach that you have.
I think she'd probably be classed as a therapist, which
Yeah.
is probably a bit bad. But yeah, I think she's great.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I love that you've opened up and you've shared that, because I think, and I'm a complete advocate, and I've said that when I was doing the podcast, that I'm all for that therapy and coaching and counselling, all of that, because there's a lot going on in your head. And for people that aren't just business owners, but as a business owner, given that this is the topic, I find I can spiral my thoughts, and you need to let them out. And as you say, you let them out on your team. It's not always the right people.
No, and I used to catastrophise. So I've done a lot of coaching work on that, where literally it would be like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And it'd always end up with death for me. I don't know why. It'd always be, someone's going to get me or something. The reality is that's never going to happen. So through the work we've done, it's always pulled it back to what's the worst thing that can happen? Probably nothing is the reality of it. So that's made me sleep at night a lot easier. And I don't know. Try not to worry too much about things. I'm in a happy place at the minute, so that's good.
That's good.
If you're in a good spot.
Yeah, definitely.
Should make the most of it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's also, you mentioned about that part of not always being content. And I do see that as a common theme across a lot of business owners, of not patting yourself on the back. It's almost like, oh, I've done that. What next? Like you say, I've done 50K, I'll do 100K next.
So we had one, which I thought was it. So I always said I wanted recognition. There's something for me is recognition, and I don't know why. It obviously comes from childhood, or it's somewhere in there. And I'm always say, what do you want? I always say I want a wiki page, and I don't really know why. I do want a wiki page. I just think if you've got one of them, you've done something good.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. There's no real reason to it. And we won an award last year. So the firm won Mid-Tier Firm of the Year. It was in an Accountancy Excellence Awards, which is a national award, and it's a proper award, that. And we won it. And we got called up. We went on stage, and Lisa said to me, my ops manager, she said, "You must be over the moon." And I was sitting there thinking, I'm going to cry, because this isn't it. I thought this was it. This isn't it. This isn't what I needed to do. This isn't the thing that's going to make my world complete. This isn't recognition.
Oh, wow. So you got your wiki page?
No, I didn't get my wiki page, but I did get I got a beautiful little trophy, and we got a lot of exposure nationally on accounting sites and other things. So we did well from that, and it's a help to track team, it has. But it just was sad. Like, everyone was so chuffed in our firm when we were standing on the stage. It was a roundhouse or whatever it was in Brixton, and it was great. But I was literally sitting there internally, and in all the pictures, it's really sad. When you look at the pictures, I'm hidden in everything, and it was literally because I was like, I'm going to cry. Like, this is not what I thought this was going to be it, and it's not it.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating. You've got really good self-awareness, though, that to be able to understand that and go, do you know what? And I've had a few guests that have come on, and they thought that they've had this like stake, and then they hit that, or the flag, and they get there and they hit it, and they feel like there's going to be this moment.
Yeah.
And then it isn't.
No.
And then you've just done, okay, we did all of that to get to there. But that hasn't done anything.
No.
Which is kind of
depressing.
Yeah.
But I have got good self-awareness, but only because I've been working with this coach forever and a day, and they've taught me this. I mean, the reality is it all started for me when I was like 25 or whatever it was, maybe a bit older than that. And I was like, I want a Range Rover. And I always remember that would be the moment in life when I'd made it, the Range Rover. So I got a Range Rover Evoque because that was what I could afford at that time. I was like, I've made it. For a week, I thought I'd made it. And then I was like, oh, it's just a car. This isn't really what I needed. Need a Porsche. So then it's just gone on to this whole stupidity thing of, once I've got that, I'll be complete. And the reality is these things don't make you complete. Like, they don't make you complete. And actually, I had so I'm still doing a lot of work on this part. I sound like I'm a bit of a nut job here, so I apologise. But
no, I think this is fantastic. Huge awareness. And I think for anyone listening, it's good to know, because I can guarantee that many business owners go through this journey.
So I always promised myself that when we hit £1 million turnover, I'd buy a brand new Porsche. And I never did it. And to the point that now I've got my team bought me for my 40th birthday. That was my 40th birthday in November, and they bought me a voucher for driving Porsches around a racetrack, and I won't use it, which is a really bad thing to say. And And the coach said, why aren't you going to use it? And I said, because I know when I do that, I'm going to have to go and buy one because I'm very spontaneous. And she's like, why don't you just buy the Porsche? And I said, I don't deserve it. I don't want it. And and I don't really want it. It's just another thing. It's just a thing, and it won't complete me. I know it won't complete me. It's not going to do anything for my life. And it's silly. There's no purpose to it.
Yeah.
But I'm beating myself up on this silly car.
It's interesting, and this is one of the reasons why I created the podcast in the first place, was you've got all these shiny success stories, and interestingly, the shiny success stories always come with something like a car, to the point my friend the other day said, Carina, I could go into this business, and I said, don't tell me the person that's trying to sell you this is an opportunity is someone standing in front of a fast car. Lo and behold, it was. Like, that is the kind of destination almost, as it were. And so out on socials, that's what's portrayed. Yeah. Whereas the reality is that isn't. And so I wanted the podcast to really highlight that actually, one, an overnight success story isn't true because there's a lot of grit. But two, it isn't always about the materialistic aspect that comes with it.
It's definitely not. And I think when I was looking for a business coach, so obviously I am an accountant. I do understand how to read accounts. Mm-hmm. I do understand how you can sort of drill down on people and find everything out about them through different accounting softwares and that we use. So when I was looking for a business coach, you'd see the fast cars coaches on there or the big house coaches on there. And then you'd look at their accounts and I'd think, this doesn't stack. These aren't the people that they're saying they are. And for me, I wanted to work with a coach who had over £1 million on their balance sheet, like net assets. I wanted more than £1 million because I thought that's where I want to get. So I need to work with someone that's there, not a fast car coach. So I spent a long time working that out, met someone, and I don't work with them anymore, but in the early days I worked with them and it was good. So yeah, I think that is the problem with socials, is it can all look so good. And there's a lot of people as well who, I mean, I'm not very active on socials. I know lots of really successful business owners that aren't active on socials, but probably would give some good value and knowledge to things if they were asked to do so. Yeah.
So how do you do that in terms of there's noise that comes with socials or just in general with competition? So you've obviously got in your mind where you want to go, and you've kind of got these set things, or actually what you're realising is what you thought was the kind of promised land isn't necessarily the promised land for you once you get there. And then you see all of this going on around you. How does that interfere with your mind, or are you able to kind of close out?
Still get jealous of the cars. Reality is I've got quite a nice car garage, but I still get jealous of the cars all the time. But yeah, I do. I banned myself from socials for quite a while because I used to find that I was doing a bit of doom scrolling or whatever you call it, and I'd think, because the problem was I'd see someone, then I'd have to go and research them, and that took loads of time, and it's just wasted energy. What's the point in doing that, really? There's no point. So I banned myself, and actually the reality is I do know what actually does fulfill me, and it's not the cars, the houses, or any other part. The bit that really fulfills me actually is when my team do well. That's actually the part, or a client, to be fair. When someone achieves their goal that they've set out. So like Stuart in my team, when he joined us, he wasn't a chartered accountant. He'd worked in the business for a long time. He worked in the sector for a long time, but for whatever reason, his previous employer and him stopped promoting that, and he didn't finish his exams. So when he joined us, I said, you can join us, but you have to finish your exams. And he joined us and he's finished his exams. So he's chartered and he's over the moon. And actually I went to his wedding and his family were all coming up to me saying, thank you so much for what you did for Stuart. And I was like, I didn't really do very much. They're like, yeah, you did. You pushed him into that. And I was like, wow, that one actually does feel quite good. Like, that one actually feels like I've done something to like not change someone's life, but like make a positive impact on someone. And that's better than any Porsche, really. And I think that I've got loads of those stories with clients and other people that we've helped along the way, and I've been like, wow, that actually feels good. Do you know what I mean? That's the bit that actually is good. So
it's interesting, isn't it? Because you come, the whole journey of being a business owner and what your destination is and what your motivator is at the start changes over time.
Yeah.
So, and also you mentioned, I'll mention his name again, Colin, who believed in you. You've almost done that the same with your team, right? In terms of believing in them. And it definitely, as you say, priorities shift.
So a lot of the acquisitions we're doing now, we're doing it with team members. So we're buying a company and we're giving them a percentage of the shares and they're going in to run it for us. So again, we're passing our faith and trust over to them to run that business, and we're just sitting in the background helping them with sales and whatever it is, operations part is where I think we can help them. So I've got 5 or 6 really good team members that I need to do stuff with. I know I need to do stuff with them. They deserve it. I want to do it, and it will be good when it's done. That does actually make me feel good. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And to be fair, the other 2 companies that we've set up, so there's 3 actually, but the wealth and the corporate finance, again, it's a similar story. These are people who wanted to leave their jobs, and I've said, well, we'll support you to get you out there doing what you want to do. And they're doing all the hard work. I'm only a sounding board. I'm a bit of money in a sounding board, effectively. They're doing all the grit, but I don't know, I like giving opportunities. I love that. Actually is a big word for me, opportunity.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And it's lovely to hear, because sometimes I think there's always an assumption, isn't there? Because you own a business, all you care about is the money, which often isn't the case because we don't always get that back. Sometimes we have to take pay cuts and we don't earn as much as team members all the time. But actually, the opportunity in growing other people is a driver.
Yeah, I can't totally agree with that statement you just said. I would break if we didn't make more money than we did last year. So I remember when we didn't have any money. So now all of our budgets and forecasts are about making more money than the previous year. So I am very money driven, although I'm not money driven because I want the Porsche.
Yes.
I'm money driven because I want to give more opportunities, and I don't want to have sleepless nights about cash flow. I'm not money driven. I don't need anything. That sounds weird. I shouldn't say that. I don't need anything more than I've got. The reality is, if I earned 10 times what I earn, I'd still have the same life. If I won the lottery, this is what I say to my team all the time. If I won 100 million on the Euro Millions, I'd just buy more commercial property and I'd spend it as quickly as possible on that, because I wouldn't want the cash around me, because then I would be tempted by things that aren't going to really fulfill me. So if I haven't got it, I can't do it. And so I just try and buy things that are going to grow us and give more opportunities to people. And then I don't have to worry about the money. Yeah. But I wouldn't change my life. My life's great.
That's fantastic. And as you say, if you don't grow, you're not offering opportunities.
No. And I actually, part of the journey we missed probably in this, which I should have mentioned, was the budgets and forecasts were such an important part to me on this journey. And we actually launched a program with another coach that I work with. It's called Super Profits. And effectively, we're using those budgets and forecasts to help other people grow their business. So effectively, it's all about forecasts, because the reality is we chat to clients all the time. People come in and they go, I've had a good year this year, and I say, what did you do? They go, I made 100 grand profit, made 50 grand profit, made £1 million profit, whatever it is. And I say, was that good? And they go, I don't know, it's a good number. And I'm like, but 100 grand's rubbish if you were aiming for £1 million. 100 grand's great if you were earning for 10 grand. So to me, the problem with accounts is it's also in the past. It's not real. It's not real time. So what we tried to do was build a program, and again, as an accountancy firm, we're trying to work where we're actually trying to do it monthly, the month you're in. Like you want to know that month, have you had a good month?
Yeah.
And if you've got the budget and forecast that says if we do this for the next 24 months, we're going to be here, we're going to be able to buy a commercial property, or we're going to be able to do this, then you know what you're aiming for, and you can share it with your team, and you can share what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the fundamental parts that's always helped us are these budgets and forecasts.
And do you think that's because, though, once you've got that, you've got a figure in your mind, so you know where you're going?
I think you've got a game plan. So again, I'll break down the budgets and forecasts. So like for our sales team, I'll say, guys, we need to win whatever it is, 50 grand in new work every single month.
Yep.
And they're like, okay. But I think the key part is that you chat to them beforehand, because if they're saying, well, John, that's stupid, we can only ever achieve 5 grand, 50 grand's a stupid figure. They can't do it. So then I need to go back to the budget and forecast and change it. Yeah. So for me, I bring in all the different people. So then I'd say to the marketing team, the sales team need to convert 50 grand. You need to get 100 grand's worth of leads in every single month. Is that doable? And the marketing team would go, yeah, that's doable. Okay. So you've got to have all those conversations for all of your team. Then I'd be talking to our ops manager saying, if we win this, how many people do we need? What does that look like?
Yeah.
So we're just putting together the whole game plan, if you like, for
Yeah.
the next. So in my budget and forecast, I know who I'm employing next year. And I've just got accountant 1, tax planner 1, junior 2. I don't know what their names are. I know what their salaries are. I know what they're roughly going to cost me, and I've got my budget for next year.
Yeah.
And then I just put names in against them.
Based on hitting those targets.
Yeah.
Yeah. With you mentioned earlier about, it does get lonely at the top, and that's what we spoke about before the podcast. Then do you find that because you've got all these ideas and that the team roll with it, or do you find that the team are comfortable challenging you?
I think it's hard as a team member. The reality is most employees don't think as entrepreneurs think, and I get that, otherwise they'd be doing it, wouldn't they? We're not all wired the same. We haven't all got the same risk appetite. So I totally have to respect that of them. I think they understand the benefits of it. I think they didn't at the start. Like some of the ones who've been with me for a long time, I think they were like, the growth is hard. I think now it's culturally part of us. So it's normal. We hire new people, we win more work, we put them on, it's normal now. The problem is I am working in a sector, so accountants do not like change. They don't really like sales. They don't like awkward conversations. So I'm trying to coach a team and saying to them, look, if we do it this way, you haven't got to sell so much. At the minute, one of the things we're doing is we're using AI to sit in on the sales meetings and review every sales agent. And then we're sending quotes out with videos on, because the reality is the videos are more likely to get watched.
Yep.
And so the killer thing that we do in our sales presentation is we will say, what is your accountant doing well at the moment? And they'll tell you what they're doing well. And then we'll say, what are they not doing so well? And that's the key part. We haven't slagged anyone off. We haven't said anything bad about their accountants. They've answered it all. And then when we're doing the video selling the proposal, we will say to them, these are the things you said they weren't doing so well. These are the things you said they were doing well. This is our proposal, and this is how we're going to solve these problems. People aren't so price sensitive then. It's just the fact that you're ticking off their problems, aren't you? So it's teaching our team how to do that, and I think they enjoy it. I think it's a bit dangerous for me because I think I'm building some really entrepreneurial accountants.
Yeah. It's interesting though. So you're running a business and you're coming up with all these ideas and moving forward, but then it sounds like you're taking on a trainer and coach role as well.
Maybe, although I'm not a very good trainer.
Right.
So I know I'm not, and I think more it's the team that train each other. So
okay.
I will pass the ideas on and they'll train them.
Yep.
That's not my strong point, training. I'm not particularly good at the communication with training, and I'm really bad at the follow-up and the... Yeah, but I employ people like Rachel in my team's a great practice manager, Lisa's a great operations manager, and they are good at relaying the message that John said in English that other people understand.
Yeah. I guess because you've implemented that, you're already on your next idea as the entrepreneur mind goes, right? It's the creativity.
But you've got to keep creating.
Yeah.
Otherwise, stand still, go backwards is one of my sayings. And I do genuinely believe that I'm not happy with achieving what we did last year, personally. I appreciate lots of people are. I'm not. It would break me internally. So I have to keep on growing. And so do my team, unfortunately. But they like I say, they see the benefits of it. They understand that, we're not really worried about job cuts and things like that. The minute the accounting sector keeps talking about AI and how it's going to replace everyone's jobs, my team shouldn't be worrying about that, because we're so far ahead of the curve on most accountants that we'll just keep going with it. And they've got the mindset that they will keep growing with it as well. Yeah. So they're already miles ahead of other accountants.
So do you get distracted? We talked a bit about social media getting distracted. When you see there's competition around you, do you get lost looking at competition, or do you just stay in your lane?
I'm not that worried about competition. There's enough work out there for everyone. And also, to be fair, I'm friends with a lot of our competition. It's not competition. I think there's loads of work out there. I think the thing that upsets me more is that there's a lot of bad accountants out there. That's what stresses me out more, is when they're out there punting for work or doing whatever they're doing, and we've seen their work on the other side of it. And I think that's more, that stresses me out more. Yeah. But I'm not worried about competition.
And so you're at another stage of growth. So the police station part is
done,
all good. which is great. I actually haven't even visited your offices at the police station. I feel like I should do.
Have a meeting in ourselves.
Yeah, come for a meeting, which would be good. So you've got the police station. Now you're going through this acquisition part where you're acquiring other accountancy firms. Is there anything that I wouldn't necessarily say keeps you up at night, because you've answered that in terms of you go to sleep and the next day is a new day. But is there anything that just sort of taps away, that plays in your mind as you go through this next stage?
I think the police station has made me a little bit less of a risk taker, which annoys me. So I'm a little bit frustrated with myself on that, and we are working on that at the minute with my coach to change that part of me. I didn't enjoy the money worries. Yeah. Took me back to the start. I didn't enjoy that part. So that bit definitely wasn't a bit that but then that makes you cautious and conservative, and that isn't good either, because there's lots of good opportunities out there. And if you're going to sit on the fence and say, oh, we'll keep the money in the bank, the reality is you're losing money. So I have to be a bit sensible. So yeah, I feel like I'm being a little bit cautious at the minute. I mean, that said, I think we've got 2 commercial properties we're looking at to buy, and we've got about 8 or 9 acquisitions that we're looking at. I don't think they'll all land. If they do all land, I've got a huge problem.
That's a lot though.
Yeah, it's really bad if they all land, but they won't all land. They won't all land. And that's the thing also, like, you can't just have one deal. If you've just got one deal going, the reality is, like, I know that then I'm like, I must complete this deal. I don't care what it costs. I need to complete this deal. It's the only thing that my identity's hanging on is this one deal. If I've got 9, I can say, oh, this one's actually a bit naff. I've still got 8 others. Yeah.
Do you know what? That's a bit of the abundance mindset, right? There's, I had a guest on actually that talked about something, and they had A and B, and they knew that they were going to be bought out, but they wanted B backup plan to not almost be weak should that fall through, because it's almost you get fixated then, and if things don't work out, you're like, oh, well, we'll do it for less. We'll do anything just to get that. But as you say, having a lot more opportunities and things on the table really does help.
Yeah, you need to be able to say no and walk away. And you also need to have someone you can trust to look at it with you. So I have friends who run businesses and are successful, and I would say to them, is this a good deal? And they'd go, you're an idiot. What are you doing? And I'd be like, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Or they'll go, this is blooming brilliant. You need to do this no matter what. And I think that's important. I think the reality is everyone needs to find people that are entrepreneurial, are in their circle, are in their lane, talk their language, and you just need to go out for regular dinners, go out for regular coffees, and you just need to have those chats, because they'll need it as much as you do.
100%.
Entrepreneurial hug.
Yeah, definitely. You do need that sounding board from someone almost outside your industry that can just tell you it's straight, right, and challenge you. So your story is fascinating, because I've learned so much, and I love the fact that not only have you gone through this growth journey, you've gone through, for your business, you've gone through a personal growth journey in the sense of you've got really good self-awareness, as you say, with having a coach and everything in managing all of that. If you were to go back to the start and you were to speak to John again, what bit of advice would you give that John starting out?
Probably get on the sales courses earlier would have been the key to it all. I think just keep learning. I mean, that I've always loved learning, which is weird because I said I didn't do well at school, but I've always liked learning practical things I can apply. Maybe not how to work out the angle on a triangle. That was never that useful for me. But yeah, I've always liked learning practical things, and I think I would have said to John, I wish I knew now what I did. Sorry, I wish at 20 I knew what I do now, effectively. It would have been really good. Yeah.
Been introduced to sales, but then maybe you might not have ended up in accounting.
No, maybe not. I don't know. I would have always wanted to be a stockbroker, so yeah, maybe I would have been selling something else. Yeah. No, it's been a good journey. I've enjoyed it. I think accountancy is a very rewarding path. I think it's, like I say, it's great helping the team. It's great helping the clients. And I think once you've learnt your numbers and you know how to read a P&L and a balance sheet, it makes every business owner quite powerful, to be fair.
Yeah, 100%. I think business owners can really sometimes people get caught up on that revenue, that sales figure, but don't really understand whether they're making money or not, which is quite fundamental. So I want to say congratulations, because to get to where you started out to where you are now is incredible. So, and you're not stopping there.
No, thank you.
So thank you for sharing your story today.
Thank you very much.
And thank you everyone for listening. Love this episode? Don't miss out. Hit subscribe on our YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts and Instagram as we continue to keep it real.